Hello everybody, today we're back with another country video, and I forgot to color this in. Today we're gonna you saw the title, again, you saw it. What if the British Empire came back? So basically, I tried my best, so the reason why South Sudan and India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, they used to be like one country. Sri Lanka as well. So now, what if the British Empire just came back and said, you know what, let's colonize again? So the first strike would be in Africa against Togo over here, since Togo is a very skinny person, or a very skinny country right now. After Ghana just ate half of Togo, so they'll just get invaded. Now, since how skinny this country is, they'll start just come over here in Ghana, and well, if you guys guessed that they would lose, you would be correct. So now, Togo will now fall to this Ghana area, to Ghana, and now Benin is surrounded by Nigeria and Ghana, so the British Empire would go for Benin next. So they will fall. Benin will become. Now they will split this up. So Ghana will get this half, since remember the separate countries just part of the British colony, and then that's pretty much a lot. Nigeria will get this. Get this north. Oh, and then Nigeria will get this north of Benin. And now we have our thing. So now, yeah, okay. Now the next country they'll go for is Yemen over here, since that is a separate country. They didn't take off all of Yemen. Yes, they didn't take all of it. Now I'm actually going to sim this, and the country they'll be also trying to get into British terms is to Saudi Arabia. Now the reason why Saudi Arabia wants to be, in British terms is because they're surrounded by Iraq, Jordan, Mandatory Palestine, Kuwait, Qatar, UAE, Oman, and especially this guy right here, Yemen. This Yemen. I don't know what to call it. Okay, so Saudi Arabians will start going over here and here, and then the Yemenis will go over here in this part. Now, since Yemen is absolutely cooked and they're going to get jumped, Saudi Arabians troops are going to meet with the British, and now they easily annex Yemen. I do not care. So, yeah. So now, how do we split this up? Yeah. So we're just gonna do that before we are gonna do it. Oh yeah, I did not need to do that. So now, after Benin, after Yemen has broken up, now this part will go to Saudi Arabia, and then the rest will go to the colony of Yemen, the British Yemen. So now Yemen is gone from the map and went to the colony of Yemen. Now Saudi Arabia is in good terms with the British now, since yeah. Next country they'll go for is Lebanon, which they easily annex from Mandatory Palestine. Now, Mandatory Palestine will get this land over here. So yeah, they get Lebanon. There's not really any colonies in Europe except for Ireland, so they don't go anywhere in Europe. And if you saw Canada, well, they won't do anything in Canada because the United States is still, very strong. So they're going to Central America with Belize over here. Now, Belize was actually a British colony. So the first country to go for is Guatemala. Now, Belize in real life is pretty weak, in terms of military. But now they're part of the British, which is probably the strongest country in the world right now. So they'll start going into Guatemala over here. So they're going to this north of Guatemala, but there is also another person who wants to join this war. And that will be, Honduras. Honduras will join this war as well in the middle of nowhere. So they'll start going in here in like, yeah, their Honduras is gonna, Guatemala is almost dead, so they meet up, yep, boom. Now they do it, but the British are greedy and force Honduras to not get any land. And Honduras says no. They want the land. But again, the British are not happy with this. So what happens now? They attack Honduras. Now after that war, Honduras is very weak, actually. After that war against Guatemala, since that Guatemala war would be bad. So again, yes. They will invade Honduras. Now Honduras won't become part of Belize, but instead of colony, forced to, be part of the British now. They are a colony, part of the British. Now, in Central America, the next colony will be Costa Rica. Why? I just wanted to be, I just feel like it. So when they go over here, the colony next will be Ecuador, and then, next will be Chile. So this is what it's looking like now. They got more colonies. Honduras, Costa Rica, Ecuador, and Chile. Now, over here in Suriname and French Guiana. Now, of course, they can't colonize French Guiana because that's already kind of a colony with the French. But they can colonize Suriname. Now, the reason why, now they will attack French Guiana. Now they'll attack French Guiana. And, if you thought they would lose, yep, you're right. You're absolutely right. So, what would the British do? Unite all these three into one country. Guyana, Suriname, and French Guiana are now one colony together. So, yeah. Now, in the Caribbean over here, they have Bahamas and Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago. So, what they do next is colonize, Dominican Republic. Because they want to. And they want to make Habla Espanol, or whatever, into one country. So, they attack Haiti. Over here. They attack Haiti. And Haiti is pretty weak compared to the British Empire. I mean, really weak compared to the British Empire. And they will now finally unite Habla Espanol into one country. The Dominican Republic will be under this rule. And yeah. So, next they will go for Puerto Rico, which they obviously fail because the United States gets them off. But now they go for Cuba, which they do. Cuba is now part of they don't go for Cuba actually. Forget Cuba. Now the next country they will call for is Panama. And the only countries that haven't been colonized in Central America is Nicaragua and El Salvador. So what happens? They have to invade them. That's what they do. So they try to go launch an attack on El Salvador and Honduras. The first country to fall is, of course, El Salvador. And El Salvador won't be a colony. They'll just go to Honduras. I don't know if Honduras and El Salvador are enemies in real life. I think they are. Sorry to any Salvadorians. I don't know what to call you guys. So after a while of fighting with Nicaragua, they eventually fall. And what happens basically is how they split this up is Costa Rica will get half the land. That's not good. Costa Rica will get this land. So yeah, Costa Rica will get this. And then the rest will go to this Honduras. Now, Central America is pretty much... And they force Panama and Costa Rica to unite. Basically, Central America is now ruled by three countries. Honduras, Costa Rica, and Guatemala. So now they got even more colonies. So they have Ecuador, the Guyana, whatever, and Chile. But after a while, Chile will declare independence from and that works. Yeah, that works. So going in Africa, the next country to colonize or attack is actually Cameroon. Will be Cameroon. And so Nigeria will get this tip over here and will eventually invade Cameroon as a full country, now part of under Nigeria's rule. And now Cameroon is now invaded by Nigeria. Now they want even more colonies. So what they do is make a colony for Mozambique and Madagascar. So Madagascar and Mozambique are now colonies for the British. And now a lot of North Africa is not actually colonized, so they go for Tunisia and Mauritania to be their next colonies, and Morocco as well. They even go for Chad to be their next colony, and Burkina Faso. So now they even got more colonies, and they go over here in Central Asia. Uzbekistan will be their next colony. Yes, Uzbekistan. Well, actually, it wouldn't make sense because, actually, all these countries actually border the ocean. I just realized that. So Chad wouldn't actually be a colony. I might have messed up. So Chad won't be a colony, but Mauritania, Morocco, and Tunisia will be a colony. So over here, and all the way over here to go for, they'll get Taiwan. Actually, no, not Taiwan. So all these countries border the ocean. I'm such an idiot, bro. So this is what it's looking like now. Yes, this is what it's looking like now. So the next countries they go for, become one country, is Rwanda and Burundi. So what happens is, of course, Burundi and Rwanda will fall, but this Rwanda will be given to Uganda, and then Burundi will be given to Tanzania, I believe. Yes, Tanzania, and then I believe that's Uganda. So now Rwanda and whatever is wiped off the map, and Burundi, my bad. So Equatorial Guinea will be next, and of course they will get invaded. But they wanted more colonies. Yes, the British are very greedy. Next colony will be Gabon and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So, actually, nah. Central African Republic. That doesn't border the ocean. I'm an idiot. So the next country to go for is Somalia. Now, why Somalia? Because the Somaliland is actually part of the British. So now they will unite into one country, which is now known as Somalia. So Somalia will own Somaliland. And this is what it's looking like now. This is like crazy, bro. So what they want to do, what their main goal is to have all of Africa. That's their main goal. So, yeah. So the next country they go for is Djibouti, which they invade. Does Somalia even... Whatever. Somalia now has Djibouti. So now Somalia has Djibouti, and now we can unite this. Yep, and now they can get Eritrea, which, again, they're making this long blob around Ethiopia. Now, the reason why is because Ethiopia cannot get colonized, but for this video, they actually don't get colonized. So, Ethiopia will be the next country they invade for, or go for. Ethiopia will actually handle them off a lot. So they actually go Djibouti and Eritrea over here. And they make them as one separate country. They make them independent again. They fought for independence for Eritrea and Djibouti. That was a very short colonization. But mind you guys, this is like for a couple years. Like they didn't like, whatever. So Djibouti and now Eritrea will become countries again. And, what looks the right shape? Yeah, like this. And now they want to go for Somalia, which, again, they actually do. And that's the wrong color. They make Somalia a thing, but now, what will happen with Somalia is, since Somaliland was colonized, Ethiopia will fight for the independence of Somaliland. And of course, Somalia does not like this, at all. They do not like Somaliland becoming an independent country. Now, after a while, Somaliland, Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Djibouti are now done. They're just done. They're done with the war, and they finally have peace. And I do not like this, but we have to deal with it. Because I'm not coloring them in, except for this. Alright, so what happens next? After a while, the British Empire looks like this now. They have lost some land. Now they land in Antarctica. Yeah, we're not going to go to Antarctica. So the countries that have fought for independence is Chile, Somalia, Somaliland, Djibouti, and Eritrea with the help of Ethiopia. Ethiopia's the goat, bro. So, what happens now? After a while, a lot of countries get independence, like Tunisia over here, and Mauritania. But there's a problem. Sierra Leone has been invaded. Yes, Sierra Leone has been invaded. The British Empire did not pay attention with Sierra Leone. So now they're invaded by Guinea and Liberia. And the Gambia as well. The Gambia is now invaded by Senegal because they didn't pay attention with Senegal. They eliminated their main soldiers in, Ghana, Nigeria, Sudan, Egypt, Yemen, and all the other countries like British Raj as well. Their mainland, Canada, and the Central Americas, Ecuador, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, all these other countries, but they didn't pay attention to Sierra Leone and Gambia. So after a very good while, the next country to get their independence is Morocco. Then after, Madagascar gets their independence, and Lesotho and Eswatini. What happens next is Papua New Guinea gets their independence, and Australia, and also New Zealand as well, and New Zealand. So now the British Empire is falling apart very badly. Ecuador gets their independence, and it's Costa Rica. Halba Espanol gets their independence as well. Don't like that at all. And the Bahamas as well. Jamaica as well. And Trinidad and Tobago. Even Belize and, Honduras gets independence, and the Guyana. And Guyana. So what happens is, this is what it's looking like now. Canada will also get independence after a while. Because Canada, because why not? So now USA has no threat, because USA was not part of this video. But I have to color all these islands in. This is going to take a very long time. Color all these islands in. Okay, there you go. So the British Empire is now falling a lot. Ireland gets independence while taking Northern Ireland as well. And next will be Egypt. And of course, Gabon. It took a long time for them to get independence. And South Africa and Namibia. So what happens next is then Oman will get independence over here. And UAE, Qatar, and finally Yemen. Yemen is now a full country. Next countries will be Uganda and Kenya, as well as Nigeria and Ghana, after a good while. So then, what happens next is Iraq and Kuwait became independent, but Iraq actually invades Kuwait because they want to. They unite into one country. The next one will be Jordan and Mandatory Palestine, including Lebanon. Now, I don't want to get into who controls this land now, because lots of problems will happen. So you can say who you know what I'm gonna do. It's just I'm gonna do this. Alright, now we don't have to worry about that anymore. Finally, after a good while, Africa's still colonized, but then why is Ghana red? I did not do that. Sudan will be a country again, and then Mozambique and Malawi. Zambia, then Tanzania, Zimbabwe, and finally Botswana. So a lot of countries have been independent. New Caledonia, I don't know why that's there. Solomon Islands will become independent. And then Fiji. Can I just get Fiji? So Fiji's not independent. And then finally Brunei. Then, of course, the British Raj. And then Sri Lanka. Then Malaysia. Now, this part of Malaysia in real life was actually independent. But this part of Malaysia was still British. So we're going to keep that. So what happens is that to divide this is going to look horrible. So do not mind my bad borders. So Pakistan. We'll have this. Bangladesh. Oh, that's horrible. Oh, that's bad. Bangladesh. Oh my gosh. Guys, that's Bangladesh for today. Please. Just bear with me. Myanmar. It's horrible. So those are the countries that are independent, except for Malaysia. This Malaysia over here. But then that part is going to be given to Malaysia. So what's the moral of the story? Is when you have colonies, they always collapse. and they're never going to end in a good way. But this time it goes very bad for the United Kingdom because, well, the United Kingdom is made of countries. If you want to say Scotland, Wales, and England. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say here. Yeah, they're independent forever. Forever and on, they'll be independent. I don't know why I drew a straight line, because I wanted to. So now Scotland, England, and Wales have now become official countries. But then, well, after a while, they would unite into one country. Scotland and England, and then finally Wales get convinced to become one country, the United Kingdom. But then Northern Ireland, over here, became a country and joins the United Kingdom. That just looks awesome. Now over here in Central America, this will still be a thing. When Guatemala become a country again, and Belize, yep. And Panama as well. El Salvador. After a lot of civil war. And finally, Nicaragua. That's not Nicaragua, but you know what? Today, it is going to be Nicaragua. Okay, you know what? Forget about it. You know what? No countries are becoming independent. No countries. And Sierra Leone and Gambia will still become, well, part of annexed. So, yeah. That is what if the British Empire came back. And in the end, it doesn't really go good. They just become back to their normal size, just with extra steps. So, yeah, that's the British Empire. Awesome! So, I'll see you next time. Bye.